Hey, hey, hey! How we doing, everybody? Welcome to a little small batch, sort of supplementary Yogs and Bogues, a little update on tournament action for you. Today we have no Scott, no Wiggy Vegas. You can see we're in flux with the studio right now, moving some things around, have something special for you guys in a couple weeks, but I wanted to come on here and just give you guys all an update on where we're at with picks. We've been doing them for the last, 4 or 5 tournaments now, and we want to just give you an update on where we're at, what our picks are doing, and now starting to go into really these elevated events and getting into the higher valued tournaments of the PGA Tour. We're going to be a little bit more frequent, release picks and release kind of shows based around that, and especially coming up, we've got our Netflix show that is going to be releasing shortly here, and do little reviews on that. So without further ado, I have below us a little update on each tournament, and how it has gone for each one of us and our resident Wiggy Vegas, our resident pick advisor. Not going great for the both of us, but for Scott, it is going hot. He has he started off hot in the Century Tournament of Champions. We all had John Rahm. It was a no-cut field, so you can kind of see the points in the upper right hand. Oh, that's the wrong way. Nope. Down that way. That way. That way. Just showing you, a missed cut's worth, made cut's worth. The one little thing I don't have in there is low round of the tournament, which is 5 points itself. But then we also have kind of how we're going to do the elevated events, the majors, and then, we accidentally skipped one last week. Had a little vacay, so can't blame me there. So, Century Tournament Champions, it was John Rahm's tournament. It was Colin Morikawa's for a little bit, but John Rahm ended up taking it from him. It's been John Rahm's start to the season. Sony Open, you had Siwoo Kim. John Rahm for the American Express. Farmers Insurance, you had Max Homa. And last week's Pebble Beach Pro-Am, you had Justin Rose. Welcome back to the podium, big guy. It's nice to see you there. Pretty interesting start to the season. We see some, big names up near the top. We see some resurging names like Ricky Fowler coming back to the stage. I hope Rick does really, really well because he's great for the sport. Always has been. Hopefully that his swing mechanic changes he's taken to, and he'll be able to have that last a whole season, depending on his eligibility. It's been hot to start the season, so let's hope it carries over into the waste management. Just to speak a little on our picks for each week. I won't show you who we picked for everything. You're just going to have to trust us. I'll show you who we're picking this week. Scott, the first 3 weeks, minus the first, obviously, since it was a no-cut event, he did not have a golfer miss the cut, and that's why he stayed positive. Wiggy Vegas and I, of course, did, so we are going to, that's where you're going to see the negatives. It's not good to have negatives. Unlike real golf, we are shooting for positives here. So the turnaround will hopefully come in the elevated events and majors. I don't think it's too far of a stretch to get back in. All it's going to take is one really good tournament with a bunch of winners. We've adapted some changes just because it seemingly was a little rough, and we want to be able to pick some guys and really talk about it with knowledge instead of kind of picking from a barrel of people that we don't have as much research on. That being said, for future events, we're not going to be able to pick the same golfers back to back. We are also going to take, depending on the field size, we're going to take 30 golfers into the top 30 golfers into the A grouping, 30 golfers into the B grouping, and then 50 golfers into the C grouping. That is going to be determined on two components: the OWGR rank and the PGA Tour FedEx Cup rank. We felt it was probably the best to have both of those rankings accounting for, since the OWGR rankings aren't really, they don't have the drop off of most current or latest oldest tournaments dropping off for a little bit. So we want people who are performing well in the PGA Tour to be, also rewarded, and so that we take from both sides of the coin there. So pretty good field this week for the waste management. There's definitely you can definitely see that it's going to be a really very fun. It always is a fun tournament with the 16th and general atmosphere. But having the Super Bowl down there, I'm sure it's going to be a rowdy, ruckus crowd that really comes out to play. And I'm sure we're going to be able to hear many things, or we're going to hear many things from the 16th tee, and hopefully have a lot of interesting storylines to the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Now I'm going to pull up our picks for the Waste Management, show you a little bit of the field, show you who we have to click, and then give you a little couple of insights on the tournament looking at. So we have the Two Birds picks blown up here. We're going to have to replace that. Alright, so A's, B's, and C's once again. Since the can't pick the same player twice was not enacted, and we missed the Pebble Beach Pro-Am last week, Wiggy has decided to take it upon himself to pick Jon Rahm and Tony Finau, which has been his combination so far this season. Not bad at all, picking the first and the sixth ranked players in the FedEx Cup right now. Cam Young and Tommy Fleetwood in the B's. Cam Young still needs to get it going a little bit. Hasn't had as much as much of a surge into this year as he did last year, but he came on pretty late last year, and that was a consistency for him. Fleetwood has yet to win on U.S. soil on the PGA Tour, we will say, and he's looking for it this week. I think his consistency in and chipping and putting can be dominant for him. This is a course that can go out and be taken, especially from the putting regards. Johnny Vegas and Tyrrell Hatton, his last two. Johnny Vegas, we'll see. Haven't heard much from him lately, but he's been around since 2008, so I don't see why not. And Tyrrell is always a measure of consistency when it comes to making cuts. And so far, the subject of the year has been making cuts for us. We need to make cuts, and with times 2 points, you're mostly going to reap the benefits if your players make the cuts. On to my picks. Year of Rory for me. It's going to be the year of Rory. I think his first tournament on the PGA Tour, elevated event, really he's going to stand out and make sure that the PGA Tour sees or the players at least see that this is his. Um, I don't think anything that Jon Rahm has been doing has been affecting him. Rory went out last. Was it last week? It might have been 2 weeks ago, and won in Abu Dhabi, or I'm sorry, Dubai, and he just he didn't crush the field, but he did what he needed to do, and a person who will not be named, he shut him up. So I think that that this is Rory's season, even more than last year's. Rory was doing a lot of talking last year. Yes, he won the FedEx Cup, but this is his season. It's the year Rory. I said it on a previous podcast. I'm sticking by it no matter what. Xander he's just Mr. Consistency. Plays well in the desert too. Now that he's kind of over whatever he had in the Century Tournament Champions, he played well in the American Express. I don't know if he played last week, but he's been making cuts, and that's what he has. That's what he has to do, and that's what I need him to do. Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Thomas. Tommy, already talked about him. JT was weird to see in the Bs, but it's because he hasn't played many PGA Tour events. But another measure of consistency. He can have a really, really good year this year too. I think it starts with, it definitely starts with this tournament, and we'll definitely see him surging through this year anyway. Brendan Steele, Garrett Higo. Brendan Steele's always been a cut maker, standard guy around the mark where he needs to be. And that's what we need. I hope he can come out and flash some brilliance like he does in a few rounds, make the cut, and we'll see. Maybe even a top 15, top 10. I think he's probably in the plus thousands somewhere to be a top 10 finisher. So I don't think that's bad odds for a C. And then Garrett Higo, my South African lefty. He is. I love his style. I love his swagger. He is someone that I think that the golf community can really look at and hopefully lean on, especially internationally in the future. I really hope this kid succeeds a lot, and he's been playing pretty good. American Express, I think he had a top 5 finish. So look forward to him playing very well and playing in the big tournaments and showing up and showing out. Scott, our resident leader, leading by about 120 some points on me, probably 70-ish on Wiggy. It ain't always the fastest out of the gates that wins the tournament, right? So we'll have to see. I mean, that's definitely been the story of this year for tournaments. We've seen it so far with Morikawa. We saw it with Ryder. We saw it with Davis Thompson. Who knows? We could definitely see a comeback from Wiggy or myself in the future. You want to bet on that? Bet on it. You can follow it along. So Scott's got Xander. He's got Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler won last year, so it's not out of the realm of possibility for him to do it again. This was really where he started to turn it on last year, and it was the beginning of the Scotty Scheffler spring, if you will. So not a bad pick at all. He's traveling with in his Bs. He's got Justin Thomas, JT Poston. Both pretty solid picks. Talked about Justin Thomas, JT Poston. Been flirting around cut lines lately. So it's again a good pick to make a cut. Mark Hubbard, Wyndham Clark. Not much I can say about those two other than Scott's been picking some C guys that pay off. So he knows what he's doing, and he can certainly speak to his picks. I wish him all the best, and I hope we can continue this going on. One more, already mentioned that the Super Bowl is down there. I got a couple buddies down there. I wish them the best. I hope they have a great time at the Waste Management and maybe the Super Bowl if they do make it there. And we'll be back at you, next week, or maybe even some specials after each day of the tournament. Talk to you a little bit more about things, and look forward for the PGA Tour Netflix show. Well, not PGA Tour, just golf Netflix show to be coming forward soon, and we will catch that and hopefully give you some reviews and talk a little bit about it, and hopefully open up forums, watch it together, maybe. Who knows? But I appreciate you watching. For Two Birds, this is Andrew. I know Scott would have loved to be here, but just wanted to get you guys up to speed on what we're doing with our picks and how that's all going. And we'll be getting Yogs and Bogues out to you soon, and hopefully more new things in the future. But appreciate everyone. Have a good day. Enjoy the skies, you birds.